meeting to order, please, if you will. Okay, I will call to order the council meeting of December 3rd. To remind everyone, we are going by Robert Rules of Order, as always, for this meeting. First of all, we want to thank our former council members. I believe Councilman Watts is here. And I should put this on. We put together this to Matt Watts for his dedicated service to the town of Carthage as councilman on this third day of December 2020.
Thank you
so much.
Thank
we
you,
appreciate all you've done.
Yes, ma'am.
Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
Appreciate y'all.
Hey, real quick, I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with Matt. Very much enjoyed it. I know that we did that sometimes.
That's
Can't
all right.
sometimes, but man, I want to miss you. So
Well,
appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Sure will.
Everybody will do a great job. So I've done my 6 years and let somebody else have the fun. So
We appreciate you.
yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
very
Yes,
much.
ma'am.
And we also have one for Jacqueline Scott, who had a previous commitment tonight, so we'll give that to her a little bit later.
We appreciate her too.
We appreciate Jacqueline too, very, very much. We're going to miss her. Okay, now we have the installation of new council members. So we'll do these one at a time. And if, I suppose I should put this thing on, but maybe I can stand at a distance. So Steve, we're going in alphabetical order. And what we will do, if you will, please, just come up here in front of everybody. Thank you. And I will just repeat the oath of office. I will say it and you repeat after me, if you will. Raise your right hand. I, Stephen Babcock,
I, Stephen Babcock,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will honestly and faithfully,
that I honestly and faithfully,
without fear,
without fear,
favor, or affection,
favor, or affection,
execute the duties of the office of Alderman
execute the duties of office of Alderman
of the town of Carthage, Tennessee,
of the town of Carthage, Tennessee,
to which I have been duly appointed and qualified.
which I have been duly appointed and qualified.
I further swear
I further swear
that I will support the ordinances
that I will support the ordinances
and charter
and charter
of the town of Carthage,
of the town of Carthage,
the Constitution of Tennessee,
the Constitution of Tennessee,
and the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the United States,
so help me God.
so help me God.
All right, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mayor.
Now, afterwards, we'll sign all these and we'll give this to you. Okay, thank you. All right, the second new person, who is actually returning, we're very glad, is Councilwoman Knappel. And the same thing, if you will please raise your right hand. I, Barbara Knappel,
I, Barbara Knappel,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will honestly and faithfully,
I will honestly and faithfully,
without fear,
without fear,
favor,
favor,
or affection,
or affection,
execute the duties
execute the duties
of the office of Alderman
of the office of Alderman or woman
of the town of Carthage, Tennessee,
of the town of Carthage, Tennessee,
which I have duly been appointed and qualified.
which I have duly been appointed and qualified.
I further swear
I further swear
that I will support
I will support
the ordinances
the ordinances
and charter
and charter
of the town of Carthage,
of the town of Carthage,
the Constitution of Tennessee,
the Constitution of Tennessee,
and the Constitution of the United States.
and the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome aboard again.
Thank you.
And afterwards, we'll sign and give these to everyone. And last but certainly not least, Councilman Peters. All right, if you would raise your right hand, please. I, Jesse Peters,
I, Jesse Peters,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will honestly and faithfully,
that I will honestly and faithfully,
without fear,
without fear,
favor,
favor,
or affection,
or affection,
execute the duties
execute the duties
of the office of Alderman
of the office of Alderman
of the town of Carthage, Tennessee,
of the town of Carthage, Tennessee,
to which I have duly been appointed
to which I have duly been appointed
and qualified.
and qualified.
I further swear
I further swear
that I will support
that I will support
the ordinances
the ordinances
and charter
and charter
of the town of Carthage, Tennessee,
of the town of Carthage, Tennessee,
the Constitution of Tennessee,
Constitution of Tennessee,
and the Constitution of the United States.
and the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome aboard. Thank you. All right, let's give them all a big hand. I'm really happy to have them. We've got some great folks. Looking forward to working with with everyone here. Thank you. The next order of business is our new roll call of all of our new folks.
Councilwoman Knappel.
Here.
Councilman Babcock.
Here.
Councilman Evil.
Here.
Councilman Peters.
Here.
Councilman Petty.
Here.
Councilman Reese.
Here.
City Attorney Moore.
Here.
All right, thank you. We inadvertently forgot the next most important thing that we have to do, and that's the election of a vice mayor. So for this, we will take nominations, and we'll have a regular vote on who you would like. Do I hear a nomination for vice mayor?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Bill Reese.
And I'd like to second.
Nomination is second. Do I hear any further nominations? If not, can I have a vote on that, please? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, welcome. Would you like to stand and? Thank you very much. I look forward to working with you, Bill. Okay, we have the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes of the last meeting that were sent out to you? You know, the two new people may not be able to, but we do have enough people to vote to approve those. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting? Okay. Has everybody had a chance to look at them? Okay. Do you
I
approve?
got a question.
Sure.
On number 8, on the very last page, our ethics violations question, there's a Mass City Attorney, this is a question for City Attorney Moore. Did you give that opinion at the, your opinion was that the item did not violate the city's ethics code? Did you give that opinion at the council meeting?
I haven't gone back and reviewed exactly what I said. I think I did make some comment to the effect that it was my preliminary opinion that it didn't violate the ethics policy, but that I would research it if the council directed me to do so. Again, whatever the audio shows, I think I did make some comment to that effect.
I think you made a comment to the fact that you weren't sure. I'd like to just say that, just that we keep it, that he was researching it. Just change that, and I'm good with it.
Okay.
I don't think we need to do that because I actually did hear him say, and the reason I voted no, because I didn't want it to cost the city money if he was already of the opinion that it was, I think your words may have been, I don't see it as an ethics violation, but I'll be happy to research it. That wouldn't be exact because it's been a month. But
I
I
looked at the
didn't
video
go based
today.
on that statement.
I did the video today, and what he said was, he didn't know, he was not sure, he'll research it. And so,
No, I was
we
right
can change
there.
it to, he did not know. We can put it there, that's fine. How about we do that?
I was concerned that we were paying to do it when he really didn't see it as one, but I don't know his exact wording. But I voted no based on that statement. It may have been an opinion. I'm sure it was an opinion at that time.
It was a preliminary opinion that I did not feel like from what I had seen, but I think I also said something to the effect that I would need to go back and look at the email and to look at the ethics policy, probably not even in that great detail, but that to your point that I didn't necessarily want to suggest that you vote to do it with that being my preliminary opinion. But again, whatever, the minutes are there really to record the votes. The commentary doesn't need to be part of the minutes, but.
So yeah, let's
I'll leave that
slash
to
the
you.
commentary then. We'll slash the commentary on the minutes and put it on there. I'm good with that.
Okay, whatever you
So just put the motion, is that what?
Why don't you, someone make a motion?
Yeah, so I'll motion to amend the minutes to slash the commentary on it. Just says, Councilman Evil voiced concerns about an item considered an ethics violation, city attorney, period. And that's all we need to go. That was the motion. Just put the motion on, take out the opinions on there.
Okay, all right. So do we need to?
That's the motion.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make this not political. Let's just put it
Okay.
out as a motion and go.
So is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of that change to that, to the motion? to the minutes? Okay. All right, we'll just take that part out. Thank you. Okay, now with it like that, can I have a motion to,
Motion approved.
okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, please.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Did you get that, okay? Yep. Okay. Consideration of bills over 2,000.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion before we get started,
Sure.
that we limit our commentary on each agenda item to 2 minutes per council member for each item.
Okay, we have a motion to limit the commentary discussion for each item to 2 minutes. Do I hear a second to that?
May I make a suggestion? I like the idea, but if if there's something that's gonna require longer than that, could we do a 2/3 override or something for, a very complicated issue?
Well, we can definitely look into that for a 2/3 vote to extend the time.
The reason I get what you're trying to do on it, and I'm with you on it, but I think we're gonna tie our hands if we stick with like just 2 minutes. I would say.
Well, we have a
if an
motion.
item-
We have a motion, let's,
Did he get a second? I
okay,
don't remember.
we have a motion and, I'm sorry,
We haven't had a second yet.
There's no
I'll
second.
Let me second the motion so we have discussion. I'll second the motion.
did we have an amendment to that motion? Motion.
There has to be a second first if we're following Robert's Rule of Order.
There is a second here.
You just seconded.
Okay.
Mis-
Okay.
That's fine.
So,
Okay.
Sam, is that an amendment you'd like to make to the motion, so we vote on the amendment and then the motion?
I think for the majority of our discussions, that is an excellent idea. It's something we should have had a long time ago. But I do feel like that on a rare occasion, we need the ability to override it, so to speak.
Good. I'm gonna put on here.
Well, I'm
this
sorry,
is
is
my
that,
thought.
is that a motion? I'm sorry, before
Yeah,
we...
there's a motion and a second.
We're just
on the
having
floor.
discussion
He
right
can't- He can't make another motion to
No,
amend.
he was gonna
This-
amend.
This was just
This is
discussion.
just discussion.
We're just having discussion, so I'm just gonna finish this and y'all can decide. I don't care which way the other. What I would say is if there's a place that we need to put a time limit on it, let's just address it at that time. Let's put a time limit on it. I don't know, there's times that we need to put some time limits on, but I say if we block it for everything, we're gonna cut our own throats. But, if it comes up, let's do it.
But
That's all I'm saying.
part of the discussion is that if there is something that you consider longer, you do a 2/3 vote to go a little longer. Is that what you're saying, Sam?
Basically, yes, but I don't want it to be something we use as a scapegoat all night long,
Yeah,
because
okay.
these meetings are ridiculous.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second for discussion to be limited to 2 minutes per person
Per item, yes.
And just to remind you, Robert's rules, whoever starts a discussion, everybody else gets to talk before you come back to that person. So it would give everybody a chance to talk for 2 minutes on that particular item, then go around one more time if we need to do that. Do I hear any more discussion?
My only question would be, is that ongoing or is that just for tonight?
It can't be ongoing because it has to be an ordinance or some kind of,
Did you?
just
Just get a clarification.
Yeah, what we're gonna get into here, just to get
Make-
ahead of it. I'm having a discussion, if I can finish what I'm
Just,
talking.
excuse me, just a second. Question was going back to Councilman Babcock. Did you want, what was the, would you clarify?
Do
Is
you
it just
mind if I
what
finish what I'm saying? Because you've interrupted me twice now, so I'm
Excuse
gonna
me.
finish what I'm saying. and then
Excuse me,
you can
sir.
talk.
Excuse me.
City Attorney Moore, and do I have the floor right now?
You have to be recognized to have
That's
the
right.
floor, but may or may I say something?
She needs to recognize everybody then.
The nature of the motion has to be for tonight's meeting. If the council
Okay.
wants to make this a more permanent, we can do that by resolution or
Okay.
ordinance.
Okay. So for tonight's meeting, that's what I'm trying to clarify. Okay. For tonight's meeting, is there any further discussion about that motion while we?
Has to be recognized?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's gonna happen, and I get the point of what's going on, and I think we all agree with the point, and that's good. We wanna do that. But we're gonna get into Robert's Rules semantics here and get into Robert's Rules battle if we start doing this. We're gonna open up Pandora's box of Robert's Rules jargon. And I can play Robert's Rules jargon all day long. I have no issues with it, but we're gonna stay with Robert's Rules, we're gonna stay with it. So what I just suggest is we all just be civil and we don't interrupt each other when someone's got the floor. Let's have to be recognized. I think that's a great, fair thing, and give ourselves 2 minutes. That's all I gotta say.
Is there any further discussion on this? Okay, we have a motion to limit for tonight, discussion for 2 minutes per person, and of course, we get 2 times each, all due to time. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries. Thank you. Thank you. The next is, okay, we're back to, did you get the bills already?
No, we haven't done that yet.
So we have consideration of bills over $2,000.
Okay, we have the WEX bill, which is our fleet bill, that's $2,221.06. And then we have the Gulf States Distributors bill, which you guys have actually voted on, but it's for the police department, and that's $4,584. And then we had one that I didn't get to put on the agenda because we received it late, but it has to be paid before next month's meeting. And it's for Chief Hyatt's engine repair, and that one's $9,036.79.
May we recognize?
Yes, sir.
Is was that the engine repair we discussed at last meeting?
Yes, we were
Okay.
waiting on the invoice for
We're just
it.
waiting, but we didn't vote on this yet then?
No, that one's not been voted on.
Gotcha, okay.
So do I have a motion to either approve all or each, however you would like to do it, but I need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve all of them.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. The next item is our citizens report and citizens concern. If we have citizens here who would like to speak to that, we'd ask you to please come forward, talk if you'd like. This is your chance to say whatever you want to say. Okay? All righty. The next one is mayor's report. Very, very short. If you've been downtown lately at all, you see all the great facade that our grant has helped. That grant money has now all been used. So unless something else happens, and should I speak to the lien?
I was actually going to do that if
Okay.
you were talking about
Please
the
do.
lien situation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Part of this grant was a lien against all the buildings, and I'll let Mr. Moore speak to that.
Yeah, so
Attorney
part of the
Moore.
original agreement for the grant, it wasn't 100% clear in the grant documents, but in the agreement between, with the property owners, they basically agreed to have a lien placed on their property for a period of 5 years, so that in the event they sold the property as improved, the town would recoup some of the grant money that went into it. It was basically to keep a tenant from improving it and then turning around and basically flipping the property and profiting from that grant money without being reimbursed. So Virginia Alexander has prepared draft liens for each of the properties. Just received them today. I'm sure they're in order, but I haven't reviewed them yet. Again, it's part of the agreement with the town and with the property owners. So I would just ask or request that you approve a motion to authorize the mayor to sign those liens and record them after I've reviewed them. So, and the mayor may have some other thoughts too, but that's.
No, that's something, as you say, was part of the agreement they signed with the city, but we had totally forgotten about that because it's been a while.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, so the motion is to allow me to sign those liens to record for each of those buildings, okay. Any discussion about that? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. And that's about the gist of mine. We have all of our ongoing grants, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but Attorney Moore, do you have a report?
I don't have a formal report, but glad to answer any questions that anyone has.
All right, our CMFO, Ms. Jones?
Okay, the office is going along fine. Did want to give everybody a little update with the COVID going on throughout the country and spending being different. I just want to give everybody an update on how our taxes are coming in. Our local option taxes do not seem to be suffering at this point. We have our 5 months into the year, and we are already almost at 58% of our budgeted local option sales tax. So just to kind of give you all an update as to where we're at, it doesn't seem like so far, our city has been hit terribly by the COVID for the local sales tax. That's the only update I have at this point.
Okay, okay, thank you. The next one is our city reporter.
I don't have anything formal at this time unless you guys have questions.
Okay, thank you. The next report is from Police Chief
I
Davis.
don't have anything at this time, guys, other than monthly reports that's in front of y'all. If y'all have any questions for me, feel free to ask.
Thank you. Public Works, Mr. Les, do you
I
have?
don't have nothing unless y'all got any questions.
Okay, thank you. Water and Sewer, Mr. Derek?
I don't have anything to report. If y'all have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Just want to say to all, both of you, the downtown lights and Christmas decorations look wonderful. We want to thank you for that. We've gotten a lot of great comments from everybody about it. Thank you. Okay, water plant, Mr. Rusty, there you go.
Everything's running smoothly. Nothing new tonight, unless you have specific questions.
Okay, thank you. Wastewater treatment plant, Mr.
We're good, just had a good month. I don't have anything to report unless y'all got some questions for us. We're good.
Okay, all right, thank you. And Mr. Joe, fire.
Yes, ma'am, I've got just one thing we need to talk to y'all about. You got my written report, you see that it's incomplete for November. This is 2 months. We've had problems getting our reports into the National Fire Reporting System. They changed. I spent 7.5 hours during one report. So I'm going to begin checking into some third-party software. Have no idea what it costs. But I'm tired of having reports drop and I've been able to get them in. We got state law after reporting within 10 days. I've not been able to make that for 2 months. So I'm going to be looking into some third-party software. And I know most of the departments around us, the larger departments, all use it. But I'm going to check into that, and I'll get back to y'all. Just wanted to give you a heads up. I'm going to be looking at it. So thank y'all. If y'all have any questions, I'll answer those.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Grant reports are next. We put something in your packet. This is just for future reference when we start working on budgets, so you will know an overview of what our grants are. This was sent to us by UCDD. Is that in your packet?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. I'm sorry. Would you pass these out? Sure. Just got these this afternoon. I'm sorry. I thought these were in your packet. Okay. What they did is they just did an overview of each of the grants that we have currently going and what our match is and what again, this is not something to discuss right now, but it's just when we get into our budget, so you'll have an overview of where we stand with these. Just quickly, in UCD, it's doing the grant writing for all of these. So you've got the walking trail grant, then we've got the healthy built environment that we applied for the swimming pool. They have to cover the cost of that. We've got the Blue Cross Healthy Place. That's for the, if we could get the playground equipment on that. The CDVG, the community development for the fire engine, if we can get that one this time, is what we're applying for. And then the Turkey Creek water tank project that is now going to become the pump system is what I'm trying to say. First, there you are, the pump system. Did y'all get? I'll get y'all a copy of this too, so you'll have it.
Okay.
Okay. In addition to this, we have two what they call state revolving fund loans that we are going for from TDEC. One of them is for the waters line on Futrall Alley, Thule. That is going to run us probably around $100,000, our match on that, because it's only 20% that they help. So that would be added to this, and then we have an I&I project that we don't know yet if we got that pilot project or not. That won't be due till the end of that project, so we have some way off on that one. So this is just to give you an overview when we get into our budget, what we're looking at as far as this part. So
May I be recognized?
certainly.
I really like this report. Can we get this report at each meeting? This is excellent, and also add those other two on the report. That way we always have it in front of us, we're reminded of what's going on. Is that something that we
Certainly,
can?
it won't change from this. This is
Well,
our
well,
imagine.
if like something comes, like let's say upcoming grant, let's say an upcoming grant comes,
Okay,
like,
sure.
it's just to have it as a reminder for us that what we have out there floating. I think this is a great idea, whoever put this together. This is
Sure.
awesome.
Sure, we'll be glad to do that.
I don't think I need to make a motion out of it.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So that's, okay, so then we go to unfinished business. Ms. Teresa, CMFO, we're talking about the COVID funds now, and this will come up later because all of these projects have to be finished by the end of the year. So you can tell me more about that.
Okay, the state allocated some money out to the municipalities. The town of Carthage allotment was $34,170. The catch is you have to spend it on something relating to COVID, to fight the spread of COVID. We have already submitted $7,527.76.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, does everybody have the sheet that she's referring to here? I think everybody got it in their packet. It says TennCare COVID spending. Especially for the new folks at STEM. Okay, I'm sorry, just so everybody have a reference. All right, thank you.
We've already been paid the $7,500 plus, and we have $26,000, a little bit over that remaining. So what we're talking tonight is exactly which items we want to really pursue with this money. We have to have everything completed by December 31st in order to get these funds back. So we have talked with the department heads and listed some different things that they feel like would be helpful. The police department was looking for some new radios for the cruisers. And I know that Britt can talk about this more if you needed him to, but sometimes those radios that they currently have are not picking up all communications. So sometimes they're getting to calls and not having all of the information. Also, Chief Hyatt also said that some of his fire department members also needed new radios because, if I'm not mistaken, Chief Hyatt, you said that some of these radios would not transmit inside of certain buildings once you all got in, and it made it hard for you all. So he's not even looking at replacing all radios. He's just looking at replacing the ones that he feels like is the most critical. So if we did those two radios, the total of that would be $15,510. The other thing we had talked about and discussed is the possibility of getting a few new laptops. So this way, in case the department at the City Hall got hit extremely hard with COVID, we would still be able to answer emails and function a little bit working remotely, is what we were looking at with that. So that way we could at least, we may not be able to do everything that we would have to do there, but we could at least do a chunk of it and try to keep the city up and going. The other two items that were being discussed was the new cashier window. It is definitely not COVID compliant. The hole in the plexiglass is right at face level. Not to mention that there are some other issues that we have with that window area. So we're looking at doing a complete redo of the whole window. Then that would be $7,300. And the other item that had been brought up was the Stevens building. We've been having some of the council meetings up there. It's not exactly ideal from the situation of temperature, because in the summers it's really hot and in the winters it's really cold because the ceilings are so high. So it was suggested that the ceiling be dropped and lowered in there so that way it was more feasible to keep it cool. So that way we could have socially distanced meetings, because the chamber may not be as good of an option going forward once they start the Ball State classes in here on Thursday nights. So those are the items that we currently have proposed. That totals $38,000, which leaves us $11,000 over what we have left. Now, that being said, I do want to point out that we also have budgeted in building funds $53,000 for the year. There is $49,000 remaining that has not been touched in that fund right now, that was already included in the budget for this year. So if we wanted to go ahead with the radios and the laptop and then try to push in whatever else we could on either the window, the new cashier window, or the ceiling. We could attempt to do that and then take the rest of that out of building funds, if that's what we want to do. But it's up to you all to pick and choose whichever ones you want. I just want to let you know kind of what we're looking at and where other funds are at also.
Okay, Councilman Reese?
I have a question about lowering the ceilings in the Stevens building. Of course, it's a performance hall. Those of you that know anything about sound, that could affect the sound in that room.
Yeah. Now, the mayor had been working on that. All I did was get the numbers from her, but she was the one who was working with the contractors on that.
The reason we can't be there tonight is because it's freezing. It's
Situation.
actually freezing.
But I'm talking about for future purposes for that room. You wouldn't want to lower the ceiling and the sound would be distorted. That's what it actually is supposed to be used for.
Right.
My understanding.
May I be recognized?
Yes, sir.
For different reasons, I'm kind of leaning your way. I do feel like it would be proper for us to go ahead and use these funds for our police, our fire, our laptops, and then that window. The other reason why I would say not the Stevens building is because it's been a discussion in the past about possibly selling that building, possibly. We don't know what we're gonna do with it. There's a lot of things to do to it. It's kind of, in a way, a little bit of a liability for the city. And so us putting more investment into it might not be a great thing. And if we did all of those and left the ceiling out, we'd be about $1,694.82 over. So I guess I would make a motion that we use the remaining funds allotted for the police radios. I'm gonna slow down for you here. Fire radios,
Okay.
laptops, and city cashier window. And that's my motion.
Okay, have a motion, do you have a second on that, and then we'll have a discussion. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Okay. Again, we're here tonight because there's no place else to go, so yes, sir.
I've got a question. Is that an actual bid on the new window? That seemed excessive to me. I'm all for doing it, but
The mayor was the one who was working with the contractors on that as well.
We had 3 different bids, and the other 2 were much higher than that. Well,
Is a security window
well,
too?
remember, it's not a regular window, Sam. It's
I realize that.
level 3.
I'm curious who gave us the proposals.
Well, the people in Cookville that you mentioned were $1,000 higher.
Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is from Bluegrass.
Okay.
Yes, it's very high. Again, we're doing the highest level of what we're looking for in that glass. So, you know what I'm saying?
Did you have something to say, Chief?
I was just gonna say, I think it adds more protection as well. It's not just a standard glass window of that.
Right. It's going to give protection in other areas too.
We've had some security issues up there, obviously, with, some other things that have happened. So, I mean, I think that'd be wise, and that's just that's my opinion.
Do we have any other discussion about that? Or any of this, actually?
About the ceiling, I know you said December 30th, the funds had to be spent. Was it Stephen Lish? That was Stephen Lish's bid.
Yes, we only had 1 bid that came in. We advertised it.
Does he think he could finish it by December 30th? Even if we decided, I'm on the fence about that because I really agree with sound, because my husband does sound and he loves the sound in that room. But I'm also thinking make it more useful, overall, not just for city council meetings, but for any meeting.
Right.
It's going to have to be warm and it's going to have to be temperature.
I'm not against it,
I
just want to throw that out there.
I agree with
I know
you.
Don.
Don's already said, oh, don't do that. But I'm really more for function and, saving money, so I don't know, but I wondered if it was even an issue, because could he even finish it by December 30th? We probably need to know that.
Well, we could, as Teresa said, we could use some of our other funds to do that. We do have some left in the building fund, so we could just go with the other and wait and see. Just realize we won't have, probably in the winter, a place to spread out and meet is the thing, so we can meet here.
It's a beautiful room,
Yeah.
It can be used for a lot of things,
I
but
mean,
it does need to be temperature controlled.
We could meet if everybody would put on 3 layers, I guess, and go in there, no problem. Okay, we have a motion, a second, any further discussion about that? Okay, all in favor of using it for, I guess, all the items except the ceiling is where we're going with that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we'll go for those items for right now. I have some, would you pass this out, because I had some information I'm going to share for this next thing. We have a, wait, I'm sorry, go ahead. The next thing is the liability insurance, excuse me, Barbara.
I know it's been a while since we have talked about and the council voted to allow events on city property that would include serving alcohol, and I've had reservations, as most of you know, from the beginning because of the liability and because of the increased access to those that might be at risk. So, but it was mentioned when we talked about that our insurance carrier had some comments on that, but I haven't ever heard anything more about that. I've kind of had it on the back burner, but just thought as we move forward with events, we need to discuss that. I'm very concerned about alcohol on county or city property and the liability of it. So I'd like to ask if we could get some information from our insurance carrier about the liability. Do we need to increase our liability insurance to be sure that the city is protected? Because there is a lot of liability in serving alcohol for anyone.
So that would be probably to check with their legal department about that, it sounds like.
That'll be recognized.
Well, we have a motion, do we have a second?
There's a motion.
No, there's no motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you.
I'm just discussing it and asking others'
Okay.
opinion because we do need to look at liability to the city.
Well, do you want to make a motion to check into the liability?
I'll make a motion that we check into it with our attorneys or legal and our insurance carrier. So
And the
we know.
insurance has a legal department
Okay.
too, so we can.
Yeah,
Okay, we
make
have
that
a
motion.
motion to check into that. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Now we can have discussion.
May I be recognized for
Yes,
discussion? Just to dispel any rumors on this, the way our city policy works, that we worked on our ordinance, is that we do not carry the insurance policy as a city. The event carries the insurance policy. It costs them quite a bit of money, usually within thousands of dollars, and they pay for it. It doesn't affect the city. The event, whoever is doing an event, takes on that liability, takes it off the city. That's the truth. Y'all look it up, ask the attorney, however y'all want to do it. I just wanted to make sure that there's no misinformation given here, and that's how it works.
So, okay, so we have a motion to do some research into that. Is there any further discussion about that?
I realize that that's the case. They do have an insurance policy. I have no doubt about that. But I still would like to know what our liability is based on what they say.
Okay, so we have a motion to check into what our liability would be with our insurance carrier, their legal and our legal. Any further discussion about that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We passed out some information coming into this. We have a question about our holiday pay, and I understand there's quite something about that.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
May I be recognized for a second? Because this is an agenda thing that
Yes.
I added, so I would like to lead on.
Right, I want to get some information out first going in though, about the holiday pay.
Would it be okay if I led it since it was my thing?
Well, there's both.
And then I'm happy for you to do that. I'd just
Okay.
like to lead if that's okay.
Okay, go right ahead.
All right. I would like to cede my time to Chief Davis about what's going on with holiday pay, and then have the, as far, and then have the mayor come in, because I'd like you, because we have a new council, discuss what we talked about a couple months ago, as far as that goes.
I'll say this, to make sure everybody's happy, I just let the mayor go ahead and go first. I appreciate it.
Okay, no worries.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, all I wanted to clarify is, and I certainly understand, we have a situation where we have personnel policy, which is also an ordinance for our town. And in that personnel policy, it's stated that for holiday pay, and it wasn't I didn't create it, we didn't create it, it was created in 2016. But for holiday pay, you get 8 hours for the day you actually work, and then additional 8 hours of straight pay for working on that holiday. That's been an ordinance since 2016. I don't know in the past how that's been handled. We realize now maybe there was more pay given. We can't go back and change what's happening, but what I want to do, and I understand the chief and I understand everybody, we had Thanksgiving, we have Christmas coming up, and we have New Year's. We can't not uphold an ordinance that's there. So in January, y'all are going to have a meeting, I believe it's on the 5th, a Tuesday, to talk about the whole policy. The whole personnel policy, take a look at it. It's a work session with Mr. Grubbs, who's the HR person. In the interim, what I'd like to do is a compromise, if I may. Look at what I've just handed out to you. We ran some numbers today for all of the hourly salaries for the whole city, for sewer, for water, for police, for everybody, except for the office staff, because we don't ever have to come in on the holidays. What we have found is that we have the 5 holidays that we're talking about before we will have this next work session. The total hourly salary, and we put it together here for the general fund. I'm sorry, it's kind of scribbled, but it was, we come out, if we added all of those together, and we got 5 holidays, and we say, okay, maybe everybody will work 3 of those days. So what we would like to propose is a bonus. That's what I'd like to throw out to you as a possibility. It's your decision. It's a public funds. I'm just going to throw it out there. We cannot pay something that's not in our ordinance. If you want to propose a one-time bonus, but it's totally up to you. But I just have to reiterate, I cannot do as mayor anything that would not be in accordance with our ordinance. I just can't do that. You can, as a council, if you want to give a one-time bonus that would equal those 3 days, and it would go across the board. It would be to every department except for the office department, because we don't come in. So Public Works might be having to come in on a holiday, police might have to come in on a holiday, sewer, water might have to. I don't see any other way around it that's fair to everybody. Because again, I can't say it enough. The mayor cannot override an ordinance. We do not, am I correct about that, Mr. Moore?
I think that is correct, yes.
And that is an ordinance, the holiday pay.
The personnel policy was adopted by ordinance, yes.
Okay.
May I be recognized?
Well, let me just throw this out. This would be a compromise. I don't know anything else. It's just something I'm offering there as a compromise to an unfortunate situation, because I cannot, as mayor, I cannot, and you as council cannot override an ordinance. We can't do that. You can go in January and decide if you want to do something different with this personnel policy ordinance. The whole policy is an ordinance. It's a city law. But I'm leaving it up to you. But this is a possible way out. But again, these are public funds, and we're talking about a total of, if we want to come up with a general fund to do this for everybody, it would be about $3,700, $3,800. For the water and sewer, it would be about $1,137, or around $1,200. So it'd be a grand total of almost $5,000 if we have it in the budget. I don't know if we have it in the budget or not. I'm just throwing that out because I know, I understand, believe me, I appreciate everything every department does, come in and work on the holidays. I do, I really do, but please understand my hands are tied because I cannot override a law. So, yes, sir, did you?
Well, I don't want to overstep because he did raise his hand first.
Yes, sir, go ahead,
After
please.
you.
I think we're heading in the right direction with your proposal here, and would be, I guess my motion would be contingent because I don't know what the numbers are. And so what I would propose that we find out what these numbers are. We'd have to work.
I haven't seen any of these numbers. I have no idea.
Okay, so this would
Do
be.
you want this, Teresa?
I have
This would
no idea. I haven't seen any.
Who would be dealing with the bonus numbers?
Well, first of all, we have to.
Can I say something?
Well, I'm sorry, let the councilman, and then, please.
My only question was, January, you said we're going to have a workshop and discuss this.
Right.
Do we have the ability then to look into that further and possibly change the ordinance.
Sure, that's what we can do at that.
We just
work
can't do
session.
that right now.
We can't do it right now. It
Understood.
takes an ordinance, you have to have 2 readings.
Understood.
And sometimes you have to have a public hearing, depending on what the ordinance is.
So I guess my motion would, oh, go ahead.
Let me give you all a brief history real quick, guys. So this has been going on for 30 years now. We have employees that's worked at the police department for a long time. This is nothing new. This is something that the city has always done for the police department and other departments. If you come and work a holiday, every employee of the town of Carthage gets 8 hours on holiday no matter what. If you come in and work it, they've always paid time and a half pay. It's something we've always done. As recent as in 2013, there was a special call meeting and some quick minutes from the meeting. Councilman Dennis made a motion to continue doing as we have been, to pay 8 hours of regular pay for a holiday as stated in the personnel policy. In addition, any full-time employees scheduled to work on the holiday will receive time and a half pay for any hours worked on that holiday. So this is nothing new. This is something that's been going on for a long time. I've worked here 16 years. It's always been done that way. I understand this is an ordinance. I understand that. I'm not arguing that case. I understand that the personnel policy or the holiday part of it probably isn't wrote the best. It's confusing. I read it. A lot of people read it, and it's very confusing. It shouldn't have to take a lawyer, or an attorney, or an English major to figure out that how simple and easy this is to write. You know, if we're told, well, you signed the personnel policy and you should understand that, well, I don't. My employees don't. So it shouldn't be thrown back up in our face when that happens. You know, it's always been done that way. I think we need to fix it. I hope that the council at some point in time, maybe in January, fixes this. As far as the bonus and stuff, it's not a bad idea. I don't know what any of the numbers are, don't have a clue. If, you know,
Well, and
I'm sorry, you know, but it's just, I'm pretty passionate about this. This doesn't affect my pay. This affects all the employees that work underneath me and in my department. I appreciate them. This is a holiday. This is the time of year where, you know, we really care. We try to look after each other. We have to miss time with our families, and yeah, it's hard sometimes.
Councilwoman Knappland and Councilman
yeah, I just wanted to say that it would be hard for us to, the bonus is not a bad idea. I really don't think that we need to change it right now in the middle of the holiday season. If we've been doing it incorrectly, let's fix that in January, but I don't think that we should do away with their expected holiday pay right in the middle of the holidays. So I'd like to find a way to make sure that they get their holiday pay. But it doesn't sound like you're sure it's even in the general fund. Are there funds already in the police department fund?
It's always calculated in every year as part of our overtime
Your
portion is
budget.
what it is. So we never went over it as far as I'm concerned.
They've hit their budget, their.
Excuse me. The councilman here is next in line.
I've got a question for the attorney. Is there any way that we can suspend that ordinance to a vote tonight?
No.
Well,
I don't know, go ahead.
I don't know about suspending it, but one thought that I had in light of several comments is that instead of this specific amount, the calculations, that you could, as a bonus, someone could make a motion to pay for the upcoming holidays at a rate of 1.5 times the rate as a bonus for anybody working on those holidays, as apparently has been done for several years. Again, that doesn't amend or change the policy moving forward, but it would be as a bonus for the upcoming holidays, and then you could take it up.
I make the motion that we do pay a rate of time and a half for any employee for the city of Carthage that works on a holiday between now and the next.
I second that.
Also, make sure Thanksgiving and stuff too, because we didn't get paid for Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving. That's the half pay, sorry.
So Thanksgiving.
To include all holidays that were not paid at a time and a half rate until we can set this for the workshop in January.
Okay, second.
And that would be for every department, right?
And that's for everybody that works on the holidays, you pay
Okay,
time and a half.
so that would be
Now,
like-
if you do not work, you do not get the time and a
Okay.
half.
And that would be, are we going to call it a bonus or what?
I think it would be as a
Because we
holiday
can't-
bonus, yes.
Yeah, because
Or
we
a supplement
can't, we
to
can't
pay or
say we're
something.
changing the ordinance right now. Okay. All right, so do I hear a second to that?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? I'm sorry.
I just wanted to make sure that Danielle and Teresa could do that without, if that gives enough instruction to make that work before we Teresa was nodding, so I think that works, but
I think so. I think Julie does our payroll, and I will get with her, and we will try to work that out, but yes, I think it's great.
So we have a motion, did we have a second to that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Let me make sure I hear, the motion would be time and a half for anyone who's actually worked on the Thanksgiving or going forward until we have the meeting in January, is that correct?
As a bonus to their pay, yes.
As a bonus, okay.
Continue doing as we have been.
Yes.
Yeah, just
Continue the way things are until we get a chance to do it. Instead of calling it time and a half pay, it's a bonus.
Okay.
That ready.
That sounds fine to me. Again, we can't change our ordinance midstream right now, but that would work, I think.
So it would actually be a bonus of halftime, because they're already getting paid.
It amounts to 4 hours.
Right.
Yeah, so
4
they're
hours
already,
per-
so they're
per
already
holiday.
working, so it would need to be worded instead of a bonus of time and a half, they would get a bonus of additional half.
Right,
Because they're already
And
getting paid.
that's kind of, Teresa, I know
Let's
we
I just make it simple.
that's kind of what we did.
We'll
on
pay an
this
additional 4 hours of pay
Right, right.
for every holiday worked by the people that work for the city of Carthage on the holidays as a
Gotcha.
bonus.
Gotcha. And that's really what this is right here. It's the 4 hours times whatever. Okay, great. All right, we have that in a second. Any further discussion on that before we vote? Yes, sir.
Chief, that you were talking to me about how there's certain days where it might technically be the holiday.
That's a weekend. I don't think we have any holidays coming up on the
No, we
weekends.
don't
So
have-
that's
we should
not
be good.
gonna affect
We should
that.
be fine until next,
Okay.
we can fix that in January, February, whenever.
Okay.
So we should be good. I think the first one that comes up is next July 4th, so we should be fine.
Okay,
We've
so
got-
we, and hopefully we'll have that addressed by then.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Wanna
Okay,
make sure.
so we have a motion that going backwards to whoever worked on Thanksgiving and going forward, Christmas and New Year's, we will add an extra 4 hours, which would be the equivalent, because they're already getting the 8 hours anyway built in, so that would be the equivalent time and a half. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. All right, then going forward, we have a second reading for the ordinance for the application fee, for the sign application fee.
It's for the sign.
Dr. Duke from the Planning Commission, would you like to say anything probably about that?
Yeah,
Well, I'm sorry, let's make a motion first. Are we gonna, a motion to approve this, and then we'll have discussion.
It's the sign permit.
It's a sign permit ordinance.
May I ask a question before we do? And this has probably been addressed. This sign ordinance, is it going to apply to banners and, for instance, the chalkboards and whatnot? Is that considered a sign?
Well, things that are on the inside of the building doesn't count. That doesn't come under our sign ordinance. Anything that's basically on the inside of the building doesn't. I mean, that's just basically, it doesn't count for that. Our sign ordinance, I know it's pretty complicated the way it's written, but we kind of had to do that to make it fit all the new regulations for signs, and so we wouldn't get sued. So anyway, so it doesn't, signs under 16 square feet doesn't need a permit. But there are some exceptions about that, but if they're hooked up with electricity, then it has to have a permit. If by chance, if they're hung on a wall where they might become a danger, then they have to have a permit and be inspected and things like that. But for the most part, those don't need a permit. The small, like for instance, signs like what a real estate person would normally stick out or that sort of thing. We can't, and I say that because we can't read on a sign what it is and identify what it is by that. But that size type sign, that's less than 16 square feet, doesn't require a permit. So this wouldn't apply to that. This applies to those that are greater than 16 square feet.
Okay, is that, now,
Yes, sir.
okay. Does that include like a cloth sign or a canvas sign? You know, those are considered like temporary signs, as opposed to a wooden sign or a metal sign.
Well, it all goes, if you read the sign ordinance, it has to do with the size of the sign. How many square, each
But not what the
zone.
material is.
Not necessarily what the material is, right, yeah. Each zone has a particular amount of square footage of face sign that it's allowed in that. And then there's some exceptions to that too, but for the most part, it's allowed for that. So you can put all this, now some signs are not allowed. Certain things like, teardrop signs, things like that are not allowed, okay? But just a banner, a personal banner, whatever the size of that banner is, the square feet is calculated with how many square feet sign face area is allowed in that particular zone for that particular property.
I was always under the impression like a canvas or cloth, plastic or whatever type sign would be a temporary sign. It's not a permanent sign.
Well,
some people will leave those up forever.
Right, you're right. That's right. That's the reason why they're signs. They're not necessarily called temporary signs. But
but we're talking, just to clarify, just about the application fee
Yeah.
right now.
this is just the application.
Yeah, that's all we're
Right.
talking about.
And the reason why we came back with application fees, because if you look at the sign face, a lot of the signs that we have that has been put up lately, we're talking about, I think, Mr. Eagle, how much was yours? I think yours was what, 50 bucks or? for your sign?
It wasn't like terrible.
Just,
It wasn't
I mean,
terrible.
it really, our fee for this, our fee for the sign, when you start calculating, the sign itself, it is not, unless you get into a real big humongous sign, then that costs a little bit more money. But just the average sign doesn't cost a lot of money. So what happened was, our original sign ordinance that we had was $100 per sign. It was never enforced. Nobody ever paid the $100. But, you know, any sign was $100. That's what it was. And so, but what was included in that was the administration fee for the application. What I did is I ran the number of hours that it took in the paperwork. This is the paperwork load, the number of hours. I took that and averaged it out and found out, and that's how I came up with the $50. Actually, a little bit more than $50, but $50 was what an average person that came in and did a permit. By the time he goes through all of the paperwork, and it has to be approved. If it has to be approved, all of that, everything that has to be done, it runs about $50 or so, a little bit over actually. So the $50 is just the application fee.
I think Councilman.
That answered my question, because I was concerned of, why we're charging an application fee for businesses that are coming in that are bringing revenue to the city. That bothered me, but that makes sense, that people are spending time and energy and doing a service trying to find that.
Right. And some of these signs that, if they've gone over their limit for the amount of sign face that's supposed to be in a particular lot, in a particular zone, if they've gone over it, and they apply for this anyway, they may not be able to get that. So we've gone through all the process, and we've taken up our time with all the people trying to get all this situated, and then
Do they then have to go through that again? They have to pay another $50 if theirs is oversized?
well, no, they can bring the size down. They can bring the
It's not like
size
they have to go
down.
through it
Yeah,
again.
well, no, they don't have to pay the $50 again. One permit, if it's the same project, the same sign, they don't have to pay the $50 for the application fee again. It's just one for that, but there are some that apply for it that, for one reason or another, it's just not allowed. They're applying for a sign that's not allowed.
Okay.
And we try to tell people that beforehand. We say, read this. But I will say it's, 30-something pages, and I know it's a little complicated, but we try to warn people that, I don't think you're gonna be able to do that before. But we still have a lot of people say, well, I want to put a permit in, I want to get a permit, I want to put an application for a permit. So if they do that, and they have the right to do that, so we go through the process. I'm sorry.
Councilman?
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on that?
Did we have a public hearing on this?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes.
I missed it.
Yes. So, any further discussion? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'd like to, I have a little further discussion to make an amendment, or vote against it. Dr. Duke put a lot of work into this. I was on the planning commission when he did it. It's really thoroughly done. It's great. I voted for it originally to the planning commission, and I had the same concerns that you had afterwards, and that being that whoever's applying for the sign, they already got tax revenue coming in anyway, so the city's going to make its money. And what my amendment would be, it would be to approve this, but scratch out the application fees and the sign fees, just scratching out the fees and keeping everything exactly the same other than the fees. So that would be, my motion would be to amend that, and so I'd be looking for a second on that motion.
I'm sorry, scratching out.
Just the
Where's-
fee amounts, keeping everything the same, just scratching out the fee amounts.
2-0?
2-0, yes.
So you're saying not to charge a fee?
Not charging fees, we keep everything the same, we just don't charge the fees. And also, that might, the other reason is it might encourage businesses to go ahead and go through with the process, they don't have to pay for anything. They'll go ahead and go through with the process, say, oh, it doesn't cost me anything, I can get a nicer sign, and maybe eliminate some of the signs that don't look so nice, you know?
So the people who have to work on it, I think that was the whole idea. So anyway, there's an amendment, motion for an amendment. Do I hear a second to that motion? Okay, then we go back to the main motion, and I think we had a second to that, on that.
We did.
So we're voting on the main motion to pass this ordinance for the sign application fee. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Yeah, I
thank you, it
oppose that.
passes.
I do too.
Oh, okay, all right.
You opposed
So
too,
we
sorry.
I do, yeah.
So we had 42. Thank you. Okay, the next is a resolution to apply for the CDBG grant. So that's in your packet too. We've talked about this before. It's for the, we voted last time to earmark it for the fire engine again this time to see if we could get it. So this is just a resolution to go ahead and apply. Is that correct? Is that all we have to do, Mr. Mayor? Yeah.
Right, that's what I was just looking at, didn't.
Okay.
I'll motion to apply for it.
I'll second.
Okay, this just asked me that I can go ahead and
To apply, yeah.
apply. Okay, that's all it is. All right. We have a motion, a second. Any discussion on this? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Thank you. The next one is contract with Water Management Services. This is because before we had the water tank that he had a contract for, and now we changed it to the water pump system. Same engineer, same company. We were so lucky because we had a grant for the water tank, and usually you can't switch those around when they're an ARC grant. We really lucked out on this, and they said, yes, you can take those funds and apply it to the water pump system because the end result is going to be the same. So this just gives us we can sign a new contract with the same engineer for the water pump system. Is that?
Correct.
You've seen that?
Yes, correct. And I don't know whether you have the agreement attached. I did review the agreement, and there are not to exceed cost provisions in it. I think it was $15,000 for design and maybe another $3,000 and $2,000 each for construction, bidding, and supervision. So I think it's approximately $20,000, a not to exceed price for the engineering part of this.
Okay. Any, did we have a motion second?
There's none yet.
Okay, can I have a motion to go ahead and approve this, and then we'll have discussion if we need?
Motion.
Okay, a second. Is that? This is for the engineer to move ahead with that project.
I'll second so we can have discussion.
Oh, okay, all right. Discussion. Again, this is the very same grant that we had before. It's just now being applied to the water pump system. And if right, Steve, you need to talk to that, but it's the same engineer. Yes, sir.
Do we, is this, that 20,000 is whether we move forward with the project or not?
This is because of the change of the scope of the project from the tank to this new system. The engineer needed a different contract that has that scope in it with those prices. So this is to continue with that project, continue with the grant, or a new contract for the engineer.
We're not out anything else on it, are we?
No, it's the same amount of money we had before, but this time we get more for it.
Gotcha.
Yes, Rusty?
We actually are going to gain money because the fees that we had previously spent on the first grant proposal, if we rejected that, which we decided, we voted to do, we would have owed half of that back because that was grant money. I think that's like, I'd say it's like $12,500.
Yeah, it rolls into this one, so it's
Yeah.
really,
And it's the same project we've talked about, a long time. We got to do one or the other. The water tank is gonna be a lot higher than this system.
Yeah.
They're just gonna allow us to use the funds to complete with a 50% grant match.
And we did have some funds set aside, I think,
Right.
Derek, already for the pumps, and this is just gonna make it really nice and sophisticated with a backup generator and everything working much better. So, okay, we have a motion and second to approve. Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, great, thank you. The next one is, we're going into new business. Well, we won't go with this one yet. This was for the ceiling, and we decided to hold off on that one, so we'll wait. Unless you want to go ahead and accept that bid for future reference.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this
Okay.
for about, to next meeting. That way it gives our new council members a chance to look into
Sure.
some of the history of
Okay.
what we've been talking about possibly doing. And we all don't feel rushed into making a decision on it, just to kind of see, because
Okay.
there's been some back and forth on what the future of that building is. And that way y'all
So-
make a little bit more of an educated,
Okay.
and whether you want to do it or not.
Okay, so we have a motion to table this item until next meeting. Second, any further discussion? Yes, sir.
Is it possible maybe before the next meeting that we invite people in the know, like your husband and whatnot, to discuss this? Because I don't know which way to vote. I'd love to have the signatures in there, but I don't want to hurt the sound. I want to hear from people that are really in the industry if we get any, a few of them.
The other choice, because he did give us a second choice, and I will throw that out at you, is putting that foam up in the rafters itself, which is a little less. I think it was it seven?
I don't know, I only had the one bid.
7,000 or 8,000. The caveat with that, though, is you have to have the whole building open for about a week, because some of that can be toxic, and it has to be open so stuff can go out. And I just don't know if that would, he said it would make it, you would still have the heat that rises, but it would, I don't know. Les, did y'all, we talked a little bit about if that would really work. Well,
Space up there, the phone.
I say we table it, discuss that as an option. That's a
Sure.
good option possibly, if we decide we want to invest more into it or not, but let's bring that
All right,
as
so
an
we'll
option.
table
Yeah,
it
'cause
and,
that foam itself is I had it done at my house, and the sound, it affected the sound in the room.
I was gonna
So-
say, did it affect the sound as
Yeah,
well?
I know. The reason why I'm saying something about the drop ceiling, we have it in the courtroom of our theater, and it's off as far as the sound goes. I mean, everything just like that.
I just,
And Don can attest to that, so
okay.
I hate to see it
So we'll-
ruined for the sound. You know, people want to have
Sure.
a piano concert or
Got it.
whatever in there, that would be bad for
Well,
them.
since the motion is to bring some folks back who could talk to this professionally, that's the motion. Would you like to go ahead and,
those is actually just a table till next time.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to come, that's fine.
The museum folks would be affected as well, so it might be good to have their input.
they kind of like it, but we'll bring everybody back in
Invite
and we'll
everybody.
talk about it. Okay.
I'll second the motion.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so we're going to table this until next time and bring some folks in who know about sound.
One
Yes.
question, what's the appropriate way to invite the, like, is that something that we would reach out to them and say, hey, you should probably be here?
Yeah, that'd be great. Or tell us and we'll invite them how you'd like to do
Okay.
that. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Do you want to do all in favor?
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? Excuse me.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? All right, thank you. The next one is, this came up, the meeting agenda that had come up because of a possible problem if we might throw something on at the last minute that some group doesn't know about and they're left out and there could be a legal problem. So Mr. Attorney Moore actually wrote this up for us. If we wanted to do, that once the agenda is set and posted publicly, either at City Hall or wherever we post it, that nothing could be added unless it's an emergency. You can read what this actually is, and that would take a 2/3 vote of council to do that. Can I have a motion to approve this, and then we'll talk?
May I be recognized?
we need a motion first, to see if we want to
We need a
approve.
motion first, or we recommend for a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a
Second.
second? Okay, yes, sir, you want to discuss it now?
Okay, I have a huge issue with this, because what this comes down to, I'm gonna take my 2 minutes here, uninterrupted, so I appreciate it. What this comes down to, this is a system of control. Any item of business that a council member wishes to add to the agenda shall be submitted to the city recorder and mayor by noon on that same Tuesday. No item shall be added to the agenda after it has been posted to town hall, except in case of emergency determined by a 2/3 vote of the council present at the meeting. This allows for executive manipulation. This is basically, sometimes we want to get unadulterated truth out of certain city employees, out of certain city people, that we can get truth on the spot, and we're not sitting here and going back and forth and allowing some sort of manipulation. For example, I've got some business coming in tonight, and I've had business in the past that needed to happen, that happened right in between there, because there's a last minute change from the executive branch. Whether you agree with it or not, this is just taking away powers of the council, which is a check and balance on the executive branch, it's a legislative branch, and this is allowing more control to the executive branch, whoever the mayor is, not just for right now, but for future mayors. So I would strongly recommend that we do not do this and retain our power as a council, and it allows more accountability to the citizens.
Just for clarification, this did not come from me. It came from, I think, a workshop situation and some instances that were brought up of possible liability, if things were brought up at the last minute and groups didn't know about it and were affected by it. But any further discussion on this? Okay, so the motion is
To approve.
to approve, and we have a second, yes, we do. Someone seconded it. Sam, someone?
Okay.
Yes, okay. All right, all in favor
Aye.
and opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, thank you. Okay, this last one, we're going to strike for right now because Mr. Moore is working on this and we don't have all the information that he needs about hotel occupancy tax that we have here in the county. He's got to do some more research before he can bring that back to us.
So I'll motion to table that till next business.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion to table it to the next time. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor of tabling this till next time? Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
No, I've got a motion to new business, because anything that we voted on does not, this is an ordinance, so we have to vote on it twice. New business, I want to talk about if we can talk about real quick, this would take 1 minute to do, the county tax, the property tax assessor, the $10,000 bill that we got. Just want to add that to the agenda, so I would make a motion to add that to the agenda real quick. That's the only thing I got.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Got to take a vote on that.
Well, what is your motion, just to add it to the agenda? Okay.
Yeah. Just add
Okay,
it to it.
all right. Do I have a 2/3 vote to do that, please? All in favor? Opposed?
I don't see any issue
I
with
don't know
us.
that we have, hold on, did we have 2/3 on that? All in favor, let's just do a quick around. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, yes, what would you like?
Thank you. There's about a $10,000, $311 bill. I've spoken with the attorney, I've spoken with the CMFO, I've spoken with the county. This is, I only pay tax bills more than anybody else. But this is a service that they're doing for us. I don't think we need to kick the can. I don't think we need to make some bad, we don't have conflict with the county, basically is what I'm saying. I think we should go ahead and pay this bill. I don't want to pay it more than anything. I like to stay conservative, but let's just get this bill paid, get it out of the way, and move forward with it. So my motion is to pay the bill for $10,311. If we get a second, we can have discussion and they can explain further better than I can.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll second for discussion anyway.
Okay. Let me clarify, I thought we were working on a actual agreement to put together for them.
We are. I have not heard, a response to the letter that I think I sent out
Okay, well-
in the 1st of October.
The attorney did call today, I'm sorry, right before the meeting, he called and he said he had been trying to reach you a couple of times, so
Okay,
I'll give you his name.
okay. Well, and I've got his contact information now, so.
Okay.
But that is the status of it from our end. But again, the council can consider this. And
Well, I would kind of like to see what the agreement says, because going forward, we need an agreement, I think.
I do think that would suggest if you are inclined to pay the invoice that's been submitted, that you make that clear that that's for the reappraisal cost up until today and doesn't apply to, not any sort of an agreement moving forward until you have an agreement, but.
May I make maybe recognize and make an amendment to it then? My motion?
To revise your motion? Is that
Yeah,
what
I'm just
you
gonna
want?
make an amendment. I guess we'd have to do, I can revise it however y'all want. I was just gonna make an amendment. Motion to make an amendment that we revise it, that this is a one-time payment. We do need to look at this to see how we go forward. But again, this is in just to not sour relations with the county. We're a city within the county, we have good relations with the county for this one-time payment, but we do need to look at it going forward. So this is just a motion for the one-time payment. So just need to get a second on that.
Okay, motion for a one-time payment, and then we'll have a discussion on that.
The amendment was just to make it one time, sorry.
This is to make it for one time, and then,
Just a one-time payment, yeah.
but then we're still going to try to have an agreement, right? Is that what you're saying, Mr. Moore?
That's my suggestion. Yeah, and again, this would require an agreement moving forward. Or if we, in the absence of an agreement, by statute, the town's required to pay 1/2 of its allocated cost of it, but that hasn't been determined.
And this is the statute right here that requires us to do it. And I'm trying to avoid us a lawsuit on this.
Well,
And-
but we haven't talked to the attorney for the county yet, have we? Have you had it? Yes, sir.
So you're saying it is a statute now that we do owe this money?
No, not the, again, the statute requires the city to pay half, in the absence of an agreement, to pay half of the reappraisal cost. The amount they submitted and requested, the $10,000 amount, they also submitted basically their entire budget for last year and allocated it on a per parcel basis. Our initial review, that did not seem to be a fair allocation of just the reappraisal cost. So we made a counter offer back in October that the council approved. I think it was for somewhere less than $1,000. Again, based on their numbers, 1/2 of the local cost. I think the offer we made was for $857.60. Or Teresa's raising her hand, so she may have some more information on the number.
Yes, okay, so from what I'm understanding is the tax assessor's budget is in 2 department numbers. What Terry did, or the county did, is took that whole total of those 2 departments and divided that by the whole total number of parcels in the county to get a per parcel cost. Then they took the total number of parcels that was within the city limits, multiplied those 2 together and divided it by 2. And that's how they came up with the $10,000 that is our half. When Mr. Moore did the calculations, he took the part that is only for the part-time person that works 2 days a week, that goes out one day, measures the houses with the tax assessor, comes back in the next day and enters them into the computer. That cost that he's calculating that on does not count any of the tax assessor's salary. It does not calculate into that any of the mileage or any cost of that associated with that, which is included in the other part of the numbers. So yes, that one line item did say reappraisal, but the other cost of that were also included in that other part as well. And I think that's where they were trying to go with that, was including part of the tax assessor's salary, because that is a good chunk of his job, is reappraising the property, and also the mileage and stuff that goes along with it. So it's a big difference between 10,000 and 800.
Can I ask? Oh, I'm sorry.
Have we got any precedent set with any other towns to see how the amount or anything?
Well, South Carthage was going to try to work with us on this, and that's one reason I would kind of like for us to wait till you have a chance to talk to the county attorney in South Carthage again, because the 2 attorneys for the county and us have not had a chance to talk yet. And I think we need, I mean, and they've reached out to each other and haven't connected, so.
Well, and the information that Teresa provided, we had not, or I had not received. And so that, I did expect there to be some explanation for the figures and differences that we could bring back to you and suggest whether it makes sense or not. But we did have a conversation with the attorney from South Carthage and the mayor. They were in kind of the same boat, I think, that we were, that couldn't make heads or tails necessarily of the invoice that had been presented. So we made that offer based upon what we understood the numbers to be. And again, I do think that ultimately there is some figure that we're responsible for, 1/2 of the cost of the parcels. It's just getting to that figure, whether that's the 10,000 or 857 or somewhere in between.
I'll say that I don't personally, I don't want to pay this. I don't want to. I just think we should pay it.
Well, may I interject? When I talked to the attorney, because he called me today saying he had reached out, just like you tried to reach out to him. He says, I'd like to work together with him to make this happen. So it sounded to me he was going to negotiate. So I just think, let the two attorneys first talk and then bring back what that's my thought, just from a business point of view.
And also, would it be helpful for two new councilmen to get a little more information and get up to speed on this before we
Yes, I
make
think so.
a decision? Or
Yeah.
you guys may already be up to speed on it, I'm not sure.
It makes sense to have in my opinion, to have the attorneys talk to each other. And I mean, if we can spend less and they're okay with that, I mean, why are we shoving money when we don't have to?
How long has the bill been outstanding?
I think they originally sent it in June, but again, we had submitted that
It's not
counter.
gonna matter if we pay it tonight or we pay it in January, right?
Right.
So I'd say,
I don't think it's an issue if we want to, but it's being kicked. You know how we do the can kicking here in this council. Stop kicking the can. If we're going to address it, let's address it next month and be done with it.
I agree with that.
I agree. That's what I was gonna say, we'll table till January, we'll have a decision.
All right,
in
so
January.
what I'll do is, I'll rescind my motion there. If that's,
Sure.
sorry, may I have the floor?
Sure.
Okay, I'll rescind my motion there, and I'll make a motion that we add this to the agenda and have a full report from what the attorneys speak about, and we make a decision there. That way, everyone has a chance to look at it, and we make a decision next council meeting.
Second.
Okay, a motion and second. Any further discussion to table? Okay, all in favor? Okay.
Don't forget Dr.
Oh, Dr. Duke, you had something.
Just quickly, I'm putting on a different hat now. I'm the county task force, Corona Task Force Director, and also the public officer, public health officer for the city. That's what I am. Just wanted to remind everybody that our COVID numbers are going up in this county. They have been up in this county. We only have 176 ICU beds available in the whole state of Tennessee. Okay? We got 20,161 people that live in the state of Tennessee. We only have 176 ICU beds left. This thing is getting critical. 90% of the COVID is spread by the mouth, droplets, 90% is. This saves lives. I encourage everybody, please, let's start looking at this and start socially distancing, wearing a mask, and doing the things we're supposed to before we really get in a problem. Tennessee has one of the highest, Tennessee in itself hit one of the highest test positivity rates today that they've ever hit. We have more people and our hospitalizations keeps going up. Our Smith County numbers keep going up. So, we can fix this. This doesn't cost much. This is not like, we got vaccines on the way. How much does this cost? I think this one was $7. I'll buy them for you. I'll give them to you. We'll find them for you if you'll just wear them, okay? But these things save lives. These things save injury. These things save sickness. You don't want to kill your grandma. You don't want to kill your grandpa. Just because you don't feel well doesn't mean you can't spread it. You can't have it spread. I have 40% lung loss because of that, and that'll be permanent the rest of my life, okay? Because I was around somebody that didn't wear a mask. and they gave it to me. So I'm a little personal about this sometimes. So please, that's all I wanted to say. As a public health officer, I think I
Thank
should
you,
be saying
I
that.
appreciate that, thank you very much. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.